really very close to home, and I've been these last 3 or 4 days feeling very stuck and thick. And when I was tuning in, what I felt, so I've just come off of kind of a frenzy of writing, creating, being very clear, very focused about what it is I want, what's important to me, and how I should go about doing it. And everything that I've looked at is confirming that I'm on the right path, and it feels good intuitively. And then when I tune in to get information from my spirit guides, meditation, it all feels really affirmative. So, it's a little bit strange to kind of have, the last maybe 4 or 5 days, I've not had a lot of sleep, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm just sleep deprived because it's been so hot and I've had mosquitoes in my place, and I don't sleep well when there are mosquitoes. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's because I've not been getting sleep, and so I'm feeling lethargic. But I'm like, no, that sleeplessness is not about the mosquitoes, and it's not about the heat, and my lethargy is not about being sleep deprived. There's something else that's going on that I have to look at. So I went into my new co-working space over at Impact Hub, and I couldn't really find my rhythm. I tried to, whenever I feel like I don't want to write, I will work on administrative stuff, and usually that will kind of go very easily, flow smoothly. That wasn't helping either. So I was over at Impact Hub for maybe 6 hours today, and I got work done, but it was not that beautiful kind of deep work that I really like to do. I felt scattered, disconnected, and weakened. So on my way home, I decided to walk the long way. So I walked up this steep hill. Zagreb has lots and lots of beautiful hills behind it. And I knew that walking up that hill was going to ground me. And sure enough, when I got up to the top, I felt very much like I could feel my feelings and I could be present with myself. So I pulled out my tarot cards, and I started thinking about how I'm feeling. And what I noticed with how I was feeling is that when I tuned into myself, my body from head to toe, I instantly felt like all of my insides were like a statue, like a stone statue. And I thought, okay, that's exactly how I feel. Like there's nothing that can come in, there's nothing that can come out. And I just feel sick. That's how it feels to me, like that feeling of like I'm paralyzed with fear. To me, that's a really sickening feeling. I don't like it. It's like underneath that stone that I feel in my chest and this stone was really in my chest, my heart area, and my solar plexus. So the heart is obviously creativity and openness and unconditional love and courage. And the solar plexus is very much about your will, having a connection with what you want to do and being able to move it forward, and you're knowing that you can move it forward in the way that you decide that you want to move it forward. For me, having courage, making choices about what it is I want to do, feeling like I'm really, really strong just in myself. It's not even about the quality of work I do or what I'm doing. It's very much about feeling like I am connected to myself, like I am in my body, and I am participating, co-creating with the universe with my eyes wide open, yeah? And with that hard stone feeling around my chest and my solar plexus, it felt like fear paralysis. And so nothing was going to get in for me and nothing was going to come out. So I asked myself, I asked Spirit, the question I asked my cards was, okay, I'm really aware that I am having an issue. And I, as I was talking to myself, I thought, okay, I feel like I'm ready to work on my programs, to write out my scripts and shoot my videos and, get them edited and then launch them. I feel like that's the next thing. Well, I wanted to get, because that's what I felt. I then wanted to get the confirmation from my cards. And the card I got was the 5 of Wands. And it said that you're in a battle of wits. And I instantly resonated with that, because to me, that means that there's a battle of wits going on in here. There's a fight for supremacy between me, myself, and I. And when I started really tuning in to what the fight was about, that's when things started getting really interesting, because I could not on my own quite pinpoint what the fight was about. I still felt like, I felt like I could feel the fight, and I felt like my ego was trying to hold me back from something, and that my spirit was saying, come on, we're doing this, it's happening. But I was also very aware that if I don't parent my ego, then my ego is going to take over this show and it's going to hold me back. And the me that's inside, the me that is the living, beating heart, does not want to be held back by my ego any longer. So ego is my friend, but I do not want my ego driving this ship. So I took another card, and this time the card said, the question I asked was, what is it that's going on inside of me? What am I fighting about? If there's a battle of wills or there's a battle of wits, and I know that my higher self does not fight. Ego fights, but my higher self does not fight. If there's a battle of wits, about what are we fighting? Or about what is ego fighting? And I knew that this was going to be a tough one, because, I felt like ego could go in and shut down my brain and stop me from receiving the message. So I had to be very, very focused and very, very aligned, keeping my heart and my mind open as I was pulling these cards. So I was constantly aligning, and I was walking while I was doing this reading. So it feels good for me to walk when I'm doing a reading. When I walk, my ego is a little less likely to grab me, especially when I can have a rhythmic walk, like on a nice surface, like either walking uphill or walking on a flat surface at a good pace. That usually will help calm my ego. So the card that I got was Death Reversed, which means basically you're afraid of change, and you're afraid of dying. You're afraid of letting go of the old ways so that the new ways can come through. And that resonated so intensely with me. It felt like it was just the thing that I needed to hear. And sure enough, it said something really beautiful. It said, if you let this fear mount, then you experience a sense of lethargy and you're unable to move forward. And that's exactly what I was experiencing, right? So that was definitely spot on. So the point about this video that I'm making is so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to rest, and I'm going to do shadow work to find out from my egoic self why it feels so afraid of change. And I'm going to go in and explore what change it's afraid of. Now, I have an idea, because I have gone through a lot of change these last several weeks. Like, I've been putting myself on the line quite a bit. I've been LARPing, live action role playing. If you're not familiar with it, it's when people get together and they have a story and they act out the story. They can be given characters, or they can be, can be totally improvised. But the thing is, everyone really gets into it. They get dressed to the nines for these parts. Complete makeup, wigs, costumes, accessories, not accessories, props, things like that. And I've started doing this because there's a part of me that wants to be outward more, that wants to express herself, that is artistic. And for me, I'm also, at the same time, as much as I'm I make my videos, I make myself, I show you myself raw, without makeup, without any kind of editing on my videos. It's just me raw, winging it, right? There's a part of me that wants to be very much about having a focus with my artistic expression. And here in Zagreb, because the people are so well educated, and they do their LARPs, they can do them in Croatian, but when there's a foreigner, like if you're from Yugoslavia or if you're from Bosnia and you don't speak Croatian, if you join the LARP here, everybody does LARPs in English. So that's what I've been doing, and it's really vulnerable making. Essentially, you show up, and for me, I'm brand new here. I'm new to the culture. I don't know anybody, that's participating in these events, and I've never LARPed before. You're acting with people, and the emotions are running high. Sometimes it's anger, like the last one we did was about the mob, the Italian mafia in 1920s America. And you didn't know who was on your side, and it's like it was just really intense emotionally. And for me, I noticed during that last event, I freaked out and I became paralyzed with fear. I went so small within myself. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I wouldn't get involved. It was amazing to watch. So because I'm doing more of this, and I just went to another event last night, so I've been to 3 events in a 1-week period. And for my ego, my precious, fragile ego, it's a lot. It's a lot because there are all these people, and it's a new thing, and people are watching you, and it's like there's a chance that they're judging you, and you have to live with that. And so my ego doesn't want to be judged. It wants to be liked. It wants to be approved. It wants everybody's approval. It wants everybody to, be its friend. And I want for people to have the right to not like me. I want for people to be able to have their opinions and to enjoy them, and for me to have my opinions and to enjoy myself, and to not be affected or worn down by opinions of other people. I just want to be in joy, and I want to be present with people, So this is part of the change. Also, the sexual energy here in Zagreb is really high, and there are a lot of men here, and I'm finding myself very attracted. And so ego is kind of like, I don't know if I'm ready to be getting into a relationship. I would rather not commit. And so I have this vibration that's also active. And so no wonder my ego feels like it's being pushed and like it wants to shut down. I'm challenging it in ways that it hasn't been challenged in years. So yes, it's kind of like on strike. So when I go upstairs, I have to do my shadow work. Yes, I have to explore my fears, but I also have to listen and nurture and parent my poor little ego that is, being exposed. I'm like exposing it all the time, putting it at risks in places where it has made it very clear it does not want to go. So this video series is called My Friend the Ego because it's about becoming a friend to that aspect of my personality that is scared, that is limited, doubtful, vulnerable, afraid of being vulnerable, afraid of intimacy. Finding that part of myself becoming a friend to that part of myself and allowing the true me, the one who is really me, the divine self, to shine through. And for years, I have been working on this method of becoming a friend to my ego. And now I'm starting to share it more, and which is why I'm making this video series, My Friend the Ego, so that I can share with you that it's okay to have fear. It's okay to feel lethargic. It's not okay to ignore a child that has been screaming and crying. It's not okay. When our ego screams and cries, it goes into lethargy. It becomes fearful. We find ourselves compulsively eating. We find ourselves compulsively drinking. We find ourselves self-sabotaging. That's ego crying out for love, crying out for attention. It's not okay to ignore ourselves when this happens. And so our job is to be a parent and to go in and parent the ego. Treat it like it's a 5-year-old child. You would not leave a 5-year-old child for days when it was upset. If you did, that would be abuse. And you don't have to do that to yourself. Ego, the thing that I've learned about ego is that it's also really cooperative. When it gets the attention that it needs, it will calm down. It will give you freedom, but you got to be willing. You have to be willing to listen, to nurture, and to be still for 15, 20 minutes, an hour, you know? Wow, God forbid you have to be still for 2 hours and just turn off the radio, unplug the phone, get off Facebook, and just chill out with yourself. All right, so I think that's enough for me. I've shared this journey of the fear of fear of change, which to me is really the fear of transformation. I will let you know how it comes out, but right now it's time for me to go be a friend to my ego. And look, there's a little wasp, a beautiful, that's a little mosquito hawk. That's a small one. I wonder if you can see it. By the way, if you're tripping off of the graffiti here, like I trip off of the graffiti here in Zagreb, it's wild. Like, for whatever reason, they don't really fix it. Like, for some reason, I'm not really sure. This is a really beautiful city, but I'm not sure of why there's so much graffiti here. And it makes things look really run down. But aside from the graffiti, the city is super clean, and I'm just really loving it here. All right, that's me really signing off now. Saying goodbye. Thanks for watching.